Welcome to another Hi exclusive right here on Hi TV, your luxury channel. I'm here at the International Institute of Health Sciences in Valisara to have a conversation with two ladies about the institute itself and their experiences here and what everybody can expect from IIHS. I have with me Miss Miriam Josiah, who is the Head of Research and Curriculum Development, and I have with me also Miss Ayodhya Karunaratna, who is the Head of Physiotherapy Department here at IIHS. Thank you ladies for being with us. It's a pleasure having you. Now, IIHS is an institution that has been around for about 20 years. It has a wide variety of courses that's offered to a lot of students who come their way. Now tell us, Miriam, a little bit about the concept behind IIHS itself.
Sri Lanka is known for exporting unskilled labor, such as housemaids. So it took the vision of a few qualified doctors who were working abroad and who saw the despicable situation of our people and how they were being treated as housemaids, and decided to start up a school and start training our Sri Lankan youth in nursing, and to reverse this trend of exporting unskilled labor to skilled labor. And that's when we began in Kandy in 2001, and ever since then it started with nursing, and then we have expanded our wings to other allied health such as physiotherapy, biomedical science, pre-hospital emergency care, and we're trying to meet the demands of the international settings or in the international healthcare field. And ever since we started, we've been knocking down barriers and moving forward and bringing in new programs, expanding our portfolio to even education, and always making sure that we create a skilled workforce for the world. So that's where it started.
Now, times in Sri Lanka are changing. A lot of students are looking to migrate and go overseas. So how important do you think it is to guide them and to prepare them for a career overseas? I'll start with Ayodhya.
Yes, so I think that's a really timely question as well. So when we look at the students nowadays, they're very well equipped with a lot of technology, and they have an overload of information with access to all the internet sites and all the universities. So I think IIHS plays a big role in kind of guiding these students and their parents to select the right pathway and to select the right course as well. So with regards to the things that is happening with the COVID, healthcare industry there's a boost in the healthcare industry. So with that, I think IIHS plays a major role where students are having a pathway towards a better future. And with regards to the COVID situation, we've been running IIHS from the start of COVID, so there was no interruption to any of the pathways, and we learn from the best because we've got like International University Learning Center, and we've got pathways to all the universities, and we learn from the best, like Ms. Miriam just mentioned. We've got curriculums from all over the world, so from countries like Finland, UK, USA and Canada. So we've got like a few things coming from other countries, and we've got pioneers in all these universities. And with regards to the learning styles at IIHS, students are geared for innovation, where in other universities or in other learning centers, they've got like even at school in advanced level, they've got a spoon-fed culture where the students learn with a very teacher-centered learning patterns. But with IIHS, we've got student-centered learning where the student is the problem solver, where with the spoon-fed culture or the teacher-centered culture, the student doesn't learn much of problem solving. They just learn all the things that they should be learning, but not the problem solving part. There's no innovation there. But with IIHS, with pioneers, we've got and with IIHS, it's already a reality. It's not a dream anymore. We've been doing that for the last 20 years. So I think that's a great opportunity for anyone who's right after A-levels to kind of pursue their dream in the right pathway.
Now, Ayodhya has given a pretty comprehensive answer to that question. Now, I'll ask Miriam a little bit about, well, it is important for students to have an education that is on par with international standards. So how does IIHS prepare a student to go into the international workforce on par with other universities from around the world?
In that sense, when you look at trying to go into an international setting, especially in healthcare, We have, it's a highly regulated profession. So you have nursing boards, physiotherapy boards. Now if I take, for example, if I take the UK, you have the NMC that regulates the entire nursing force, and you have the HCPC, which regulates all the other allied health professionals. Then you have the GMC that regulates the doctors. So for us to be able to move into an international setting, we need to know what those standards are, and we need to be able to live up to those standards and work in the type of environment that they require us to work in. So if we do not incorporate those standards and those learnings into our curriculums, then we will have, I would say, a half-baked professional. So they would have to go there and redo their training and get more knowledge and skills, which is a waste of their time, instead of where they can get it here and then go directly into the workforce. So what we have done is, while we work with all world-class universities, starting from the US to UK, SUNY Canton, Coventry University, we work with the best professionals and subject experts, and we have standardized our curriculum to include these areas that are needed for students to know, and when they graduate, they are work-ready professionals.
Well, we'll take a short break and we'll be back to talk more about IIHS. Welcome back to the show. I'm in conversation with Miss Miriam Josiah and Miss Ayodhya Karnaratna right here at IIHS. So now I'll continue my conversation with Ayodhya. Now, what I have learned is that Ayodhya is a past pupil of IIHS. She has studied here and moved on to be a renowned physiotherapist in all of Southeast Asia. So tell me, Ayodhya, how was your experience here at IIHS and how it has helped you to move into the world market?
So I'll start that question with my A-level results. So I only had three S's for my A-levels, and that was one of the major challenges I had, because I was not included in the government university sector, even though I came from government university. So that was an abrupt stop for my career. So I couldn't go to any other careers, but I really wanted to have a healthcare career. So that's when I heard about IIHS, and I was really, really happy that I was included in something. So when I started at IIHS, I was just an after A-level student where I did not know anything about computers, about not a massive knowledge on English, and no subject knowledge. But with IIHS, when I graduated IIHS, I had a 3.8 GPA, which is one of the highest GPAs, and I was also the most outstanding student in 2 programs and also at IIHS. So that was a big transformation where those gaps were filled and a normal A-level student was transformed into someone who could perform academically and professionally from the transformation through IIHS. And I think the part where I was groomed for that is the extracurricular activities, the co-curricular activities and the curricular activities, where I was academically performing. At the same time, I was getting involved in all the student unions or the communities or the committees. So that was the transformation that I had, and for all the things that I did at IIHS, I was recognized and I was part of all the events and activities that happened at IIHS. So now I am a registered physiotherapist, and I'm also a chartered physiotherapist and one of the youngest to achieve that title as well. So all those things were trained at IIHS, where I went to renowned hospitals for my clinicals, and I was able to gain experience from renowned people in the industry, and also, like I mentioned before, grooming to become a professional and a world-ready physiotherapist as well. And I've also presented my researches at world conferences, and I've also presented at the World Confederation for Physical Therapy now 4 times. Even though I was an undergraduate student, I was able to present research where lots of the other people were like, oh, astounded, like this is an undergraduate student presenting research. And I've also got like 20 publications now. And for all these things, the first spotlight was IIHS, the BioInquirer platform, where we present research at IIHS, and even the presentation skills and presenting at a global forum came from IIHS. So I think I'm really, really proud to be an IIHS student, and also very thankful to that transformation that IIHS did for me.
Sounds fantastic. Now, you have spent quite a lot of time in UK as well. So how has the experience here at IIHS helped you cope with the culture shock once you go there, getting used to the environment, getting used to their work culture, and how would you compare the work conditions here in Sri Lanka in terms of pay scale to that of UK?
Yes, so I think it wasn't really a challenge. As I mentioned before, the major challenge that I had in my career was the 3 S's, where I was not included in any of the systems. But when I came to IIHS, I broke all those barriers, because then I was able to have a boost in my career where I did all the things after that right. So when I went to UK, that was definitely a cultural shock, because I've not been living in any other country. But because IIHS had systems and had curriculums that were from other countries or were groomed for other countries, I was not actually seeing that as a challenge, because in my curriculum I learned about reflections, I learned about clinical expertise, I learned about clinical reasoning practices, I learned about patient-centered care, and I also learned about all the other things like referencing. Even the writing styles were different at IIHS, and it was made to suit the other higher education systems. So that was a kind of a very big advantage. I know, like in my class in Coventry for my master's, there were students who were struggling to find the right answers, but with the IIHS training that I had, it was not a challenge. So even with that, I was able to perform highly. And even after coming back to Sri Lanka, I was able to secure a job within the NHS, because I mean, when I came to IIHS, one of the first things I learned was we're all going to have the same qualification, but it's up to us to make our careers make us a star. So that was one of the major things that I took into note. So that kind of boosted my career in so many different ways, which I'm thankful to IIHS again.
It's pretty exciting to hear the stories from somebody who's actually been at IIHS, gone through the structure, and come out as a successful healthcare professional. Now, to be in the healthcare professional, you need to have a sort of a multitasking ability to be an overall professional with many facets to their repertoire. So now, Ms. Miriam, tell us, how does IIHS actually help you become that, and what are the sort of talents and skills that are incorporated into a student once they come into IIHS?
So I'm going to piggyback off Ayodhya's response. So take her as an example. So when she came in, when any student comes in, we do not keep that barrier that you have to have a certain level of knowledge or certain grades. So we take simple passes. And if at all you don't live up to the requirements, we have the bridging courses that are also available on site for them. They can follow the programs and top up and, you know, clear the gaps while they're still doing the program. We never push them out or say, no, we can't take you. We find some way to bring in students and make sure that everyone gets a chance, an equal chance. That's why some of our core values are inclusivity. That's the inclusivity concept. And so when kids come in, we start off with a good foundation for them, a good orientation, and we start exposing them, even though whatever commerce background, science background is not really taken into account. Anyone can come and do a healthcare course. So our initial orientation program has all these introduction to all the skills that they need, such as team building, leadership, referencing, note taking. So much of we lay the foundation for them on which we build on in the subsequent years and semesters. So that's the academic component or the curricular component. So around that we build the co-curricular component that she was talking of, as well as the extracurricular component. So we give them the foundation, we start their academic course, and then around it we encourage them to do research. Now, many undergraduate level programs do not even encourage research to the point that they actually do a publication. But what we do is we drill students to be able to follow research. It can be an individual research, it can be a group research. And it goes out into the community collecting data, and they learn to mingle with people and learn to analyze what's happening, what's the real deal that's happening in the community. And so after that, they put these skills, and then we also, after they do their initial publication in our bioinquirer forum, we encourage them to take it outside. So we help them, or we support them to apply to foreign conferences. So that's where they go. So they they learn their presentation skills, their confidence boosts up. And then in addition to that, like she said, she took part in a lot of activities. So we have we now have five student committees, starting with the student council to the sports society to the scientific committee. Then you have the Flona committee, as well as the, well, my favorite, MAD society. So MAD stands for music, arts, dance and drama. So they keep everyone going and the entire school is buzzing. So we're not boring, that's for sure. So all this put together, we have found students now, just like herself. She's now the head of the physiotherapy department. So that's a big title when it comes to not just the physiotherapy, the faculty itself, because she has learned so much. We've seen her from this shy little girl that came and scared to this confident professional that is a chartered physiotherapist, and the youngest for that matter. So we know we are doing something good because we have the products to show.
Well, when you have evidence in front of you, you are more inclined to believe what can come out of IIHS. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back. Welcome back to the show. Well, we've reached the latter end of the conversation where I'm sitting down with Miss Miriam and Miss Ayodhya to talk about their experiences and what students can expect from IIHS. Now, there are a few universities, there are a few establishments that are providing educational courses here in Sri Lanka and overseas as well. Students choose different paths to further their education and their career. Now, if there's a parent out there thinking about a career path for their child, Miss Miriam, why would you recommend IIHS, and how would you guide that parent to bring their child over to IIHS?
So besides IIHS having a plethora of courses from which you can choose from, we not only have nursing, physiotherapy and biomedical sciences, but even newer areas. We are expanding into occupational therapy, speech therapy, optometry, diagnostic radiography and radiotherapy, as well as other areas such as education. We have teaching English as a second language, early childhood education, and even primary teaching, and also expanding into higher level studies such as the masters in business administration, moving into digital health, and so much more that's coming up in the years to come. But what I would advise parents is to look for, now the biggest question is why healthcare? Healthcare has never been hit by any economic crisis. You should take COVID for example. I mean, we never not wanted any. A lot of people in other areas got laid off. Their pays were cut in half, but not for the healthcare professionals. Everyone was in high demand, and they will continue to be in high demand because as we see it, I think governments spend the majority of their budgets on medical. So we're definitely, as medical professionals, secure. So what parents need to look at when they're advising their kids to choose a path is to choose a path that you know is secure and that you can progress. So we will never be hit by any form of crisis, and we will always be in demand. There's always progression. Obviously the pay scales are absolutely lovely, and you can, it's not restricted. Now if I take nursing, because I'm a nurse myself, I wanted to do nursing and I wanted to be by the bedside, and I loved helping people. But as I grew, as I studied, I found out I liked to teach. So hence I went into teaching, I went into education, and now I'm developing programs. From where I started to where I am right now, there are other areas that you can go to. It's not just by the bedside. So when you even look at physiotherapy, here she is a chartered physiotherapist who has done physiotherapy and practiced as a physiotherapist in the UK. She's now teaching at IIHS and she's heading a faculty. And my advice is, if you look at, now everyone is wanting to get out of the country as soon as possible, like they want to be there in the UK yesterday. But just think about it, how much, when you do a program here, it's a very good investment because your returns are much more. Because when you're trying to do a program outside the country, say the UK, you have to spend close to about 15 to 20,000 pounds per year on tuition alone. And if you look at Australia, it's about 32 to 35 Australian dollars per year in any healthcare field. But what we do is we create a pathway where you only have to spend money on the final year. And if you wish, now even when COVID hit, we had the programs here. So nurses who were upgrading their skills and wanted to go on pathways stayed back and did a UK degree and upgraded themselves, and now on their way to multiple jobs in UK. So there's always a chance for you. There's never a stop. So even COVID didn't stop us, and I don't think anything else can stop us. We continue to break down barriers, and my advice to parents is choose wisely, because healthcare is an area that will always be secure.
I'll ask the same question from Ayodhya, just from a student's perspective. If you're out there, you're looking for a different career path, you want to do something innovative towards your education, why would they, or as a student, you go ahead and choose IIHS?
So like what Ms. Miriam said, I think the first thing is sustainability, so of the profession. So yes, physio, nursing or allied health professionals will always have a career, and we can't be replaced really. So that's, I think, number one as a student that they should be choosing. And at IIHS we've already done it. We've got healthcare professionals working all over the world, and renowned healthcare professionals. So that's number one. And number two, I would consider is the work-life balance. So having good job security at work. So and I think every time I've been working at in other countries, I've found that it's really easy to get a job, and also with the things that we carry and in our portfolio that we did at IIHS, it's really easy to find a job. I've never had a problem with finding a job anywhere in the world, and it's like having a global passport to have a degree from IIHS, so you can go to any country. So I think that's one major thing, and also the balance that you have at work, and also the balance that you have for your life. So you can actually have a good quality of life being in the profession, and also having a degree from IIHS, where you can have a luxurious life, as Ms. Miriam just mentioned. So we've got the salaries are excellent. So we've got you could have your own car, you could have your own house, you could have a brilliant life ahead of the professional life you do as well. So I think that's number two that I would really consider about.
Well, there you go. A lot of questions have been answered, a lot of insights have been given about studying at IIHS and the future that lies ahead of you. You can come on over here to IIHS and find out more information, talk to their student representatives, get the information and choose the path that works for you. Thank you ladies for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Until I see you again with another Hi exclusive, take care and be safe.